So what was your feeling when you opened up the envelope and it said that your marble had been pulled out?
To tell you the honest truth, I was quite happy about it because Paul, my friend Paul here, he'd been called up as well, and he went in before me, 3 months before, and I was actually quite happy to be with Paul, really, to know that I was going to be with him eventually, sort of thing, in the army. And it was something that I can tell you the honest truth, that I was an apprentice plumber and I didn't like my job too much. So to a certain extent, it was probably one of the best things that could happen to me, to get me away from something that I wasn't all that over keen on, because I had a pretty tough apprenticeship with a man I didn't like working for. Gave me a bit of a hard time. And to me, it was a relief just to get away from that. So I went in the army, really, I suppose, with my eyes open, as a bit of an adventure thing as well. They came out one morning and they just said, has anybody got any sort of medical experience at all? Anyway, I put my hand up, as I've heard many times, you don't volunteer for anything, but in the army I put my hand up and I said, I used to be a lifesaver down at Half Moon Bay Lifesaving Club when I was young. And they said that, yeah, okay, well, I've got some first aid experience here, you can be a platoon medic. Platoon stretcher bearer medic, which I was quite happy to do actually. I felt as if I really sort of was up my sort of, what can I say, my sort of...
Up your alley.
Alley to sort of want to be where so I can be really helping my own sort of fellows, And yeah, so I took on that as a role in the platoon, and I became, as I said, a platoon medic and stretcher bearer. I did a first aid course at Woodside. They put me through a course for probably about a month or so, and it just gave us a basic training. That's all it was really, as far as medical sort of bandaging and stretching, making out a stretcher out of like a makeshift stretchers out of a couple of branches, and we'd have to put our little stretcher through those branches, and that was how we do it.
So when you did actually get told that your regiment was going to Vietnam, what did you feel?
I suppose the first thought about it is that, will I come home again? That's how I've probably felt deep down. Will I actually come home? That's what you think. You're going to go, so you naturally think that there's a possibility you might not come home. The Viet Cong had taken over the village, and it was quite sort of more street-to-street fighting sort of thing, and it was a little bit sort of daunting for us, I suppose, because it was really our first action over there. And John Casson was unfortunately been shot in the head, and I had to go and get him, and he was very badly wounded, being shot through the brain, and his sort of brain was probably really coming out of his head really. It was quite daunting, and unfortunately John died the next day. He was flown out, but I had to get him back to the helicopters, and they got him back to the hospital again. And he was actually a very, very liked sort of a fellow, very nice sort of a guy, and of course to lose him first up, you sort of hit home that this is really serious over here. We're gonna, we are in like an area where, we've got to sort of, really look after each other. The night before we came in, we heard the B-52 bombs, like they bombed the area with the B-52 bombs, and the whole ground was shaking. This is where we were positioned the night before, and when we came to Balmoral, all I could see was all those big B-52 bomb craters, which were quite daunting actually. They're gigantic craters. Just after midnight, we were attacked by mortars, and it was quite frightening actually, because I just wake up to think, what's going on here? You just couldn't sort of relate to the noise before. First time it happened to us, and then they attacked us across the football field. They came towards us, and it was pretty well full on then. That was the first attack we had. Like Balmoral was, how can I explain it to you? It was something that I suppose it was just so full on. It was hard to, like, you had to be spontaneous of what you did, sort of thing. And it was just so much going on at the time, and we were just sort of thrown into something which we hadn't experienced before, I suppose, really. And I was called up to I suppose you call it the command post, the headquarters, and they were bringing all the wounded into that section there, and then I had to sort of look after them, sort of come in. That was also prisoners as well were brought in. in that section, and we had to sort of, you know, just apply the first aid so they could be medevaced out on the helicopters to the back to the bases.